power angle curves in the pre-fault and post-fault conditions. So from the power angle characteristics, we will find out the accelerating and the decelerating areas. And from the accelerating and decelerating areas, we will apply the equal area criteria to determine the critical clearing angle. So this is the value of PM, mechanical power input. This is pre-fault, and this is post-fault. The maximum power reduces during post-fault power angle curve. So mechanical input is this one, and first of all we are having on the pre-fault curve delta 1, but due to the fact that the point has been shifted from A to B because of the fact that one of the line has been switched off, so B point is having electrical power less than mechanical power. That's why it is going to move along with the power angle curve, reaches here. So at this point, we are having the value of angle is delta 1. So this becomes my accelerating area where mechanical power is more, electrical power is less, and this becomes my decelerating area. So this is the delta 2 max. So if the decelerating area is more, accelerating area is less, then the system is stable. And when they are equal, so from the fact that equal value of accelerating area equal to decelerating area, that gives me the critical clearing angle. Okay, so that gives me the critical clearing angle. So here there is a relation between delta 1 and delta 2 max. So delta 2 max is given by pi minus delta 1. So delta 1 is nothing but the critical clearing angle. So whenever delta 2 is equal to delta 2 max, in that case delta 1 becomes the delta C. So this is the case when one of the line has been suddenly lost. Then we are considering certain cases when there happens to be sudden short circuit on one of the parallel lines. So next case is that, and based on this case, I will give you one assignment so that you have to solve. So sudden short circuit of one parallel line. Now it depends upon the location where the short circuit occurs, right? So it depends upon the location. So if the system is stable or not, it depends upon location of the fault as well other factors. For example, other factors are severity of the fault and duration for which fault remains in the system. Okay, so critical clearing angle is a very critical, which can depict that if the system remains stable or it will become unstable. So in order to consider this, let us first consider a case A. that the sudden short circuit occurs at one end. So it happens to be at one end of line. Now, if it happens to be at one end of the line, so we need to find out pre-fault, post-fault, during fault values of Pmax. So let's draw the single line representation. PM, then XD dash, then double circuit transmission line. And if the fault occurs at one of the end of the lines, okay, in that case, this is XL. In case the fault occurs at one end of the line, say the fault occurs here at this point, fault has been occurred. So what will happen, because this end is connected with the node, so this node has become faulty. It means the power which is being transferred is directly going into the fault point. So the power is being going into the fault point, not going towards the node end. This is XT dash, right? So this becomes the equivalent representation of the system, right? XL. So this gives the condition of during fault. What happens? This is number one is pre-fault. So in case of pre-fault, there is some maximum value, and the point here is when the sudden short circuit occurs at one end of the line, the during fault value is 0. So during fault value of the electrical power output is 0. And whenever the fault has been cleared, the value of the electrical power depends upon the Pmax3, which is less than the Pmax1. So now we can draw the three curves, power angle curves. First is say pre-fault. Okay, so in case of pre-fault, this is the curve, and the during fault curve is just horizontal line. So this is during fault, because of the fact that electrical power output is just 0. Third is the case when fault has been cleared and one of the line has become isolated. So in this case, this becomes the post fault. So original point is PM, initial point PM, and this is delta naught. It lies A point at the pre-fault. Now from the A point, it will directly go to the B point at the during fault curve, which is horizontal line. At this electrical power is 0, mechanical power is PM. There happens to be the acceleration. So let's say what happens that the fault has been cleared at this point. The fault has been cleared at delta C. Right, so at delta C, it will move to the post-fault curve. At the delta C, at this C point, it will move to the D point. which is post fault. Maximum value which can occur on the post fault is given by this E point. So this gives the delta 2 max, so maximum value of the delta 2 or delta max. Okay, so maximum value of delta 2. This is delta 2. In fact, this is delta naught, this is delta 1, and this is delta 2. So delta naught is delta 1 is delta critical, and delta 2 is equal to delta 2 max. So now we have to plot the two areas. The accelerating area is A1. So accelerating area A1 is like this. So this whole is the accelerating area, right? This whole is the accelerating area between the mechanical input and the electrical output, between pre-fault and during fault. And then decelerating area is this one. This one is the decelerating area. Okay, so this is between post-fault and the mechanical input. So during the decelerating area, we have electrical power more than PM. The area is decelerating area. During the acceleration, we have mechanical power greater than equal to PE, PE greater than equal to PM. So this is accelerating area. So in this way, we are able to plot the two areas. So I think you are able to understand that how we can make use of the equilibrium criteria, and by equating the two areas by making use of integration, I can find out the delta critical. Now I move to the next case. Whenever there happens to be the fault at the middle of the transmission line, so in that case, let's plot the single line representation. So XD dash, and then we have, say, this is XL, whenever the fault occurs at the middle of the transmission line, one of the transmission line, we need to have the representation that half of the XL is XL by 2 on the left hand side, and half of the XL on the right hand side of the fault point. So here we need to apply the transformation, star delta transformation, to find out the value of X transfer between the generator and the infinite bus. So it means the circuit will look like this. So we have this generator XD dash. I think this I have also discussed in one of the previous class, that how to obtain the P max whenever there happens to be the fault in the middle of the transmission line. So XL, and then we have XL by 2, XL by 2, and here we are also having XL by 2. Here we are also having XL by 2. This is the infinite bus voltage, V angle delta, V angle 0 degree. So now here we can find out the, here we can apply the star delta transformation to find out the net transfer reactance between the generator bus and the infinite bus, right? So here we need to apply the star delta transformation so that we are able to find out this X value, this X transfer between the generator and the infinite bus. So this I have already explained that how to solve the star delta transformer, how to solve the star delta transformation so as to find out the Pmax 3. So as to find out the Pmax during fault conditions, right? So okay, with this explanation, I can say that we have now three curves, three power angle curves. One is the curve which is pre-fault, second is which is during fault, and third is which is post-fault. So you can easily see that, you can easily understand this point that maximum value will be during pre-fault when there is no fault conditions. In that case, I'm having the maximum value of the power which is being transferred from the generator to the infinite bus. So I'm not able to draw the figures very precisely. So please bear with me because of this digital board. So not having so much practice of doing precise drawing. So slowly I think I will gain the perfection. I have to gain the perfection. So this is pre-fault and during fault. During fault is least. This is the during fault. Because whenever there happens to be the fault, most of the power has been gone to the fault point. Very less power has been given to the infinite bus, to the load. In the previous case, what you have seen that during fault value is just 0. Here is there happens to be some value of the power which is being transferred to the infinite bus during fault because of the fact that the location is different. So it depends upon the location of the fault. That's why it depends upon the location of the fault point if the system will remain stable or it will become unstable, right? So it depends upon the location, it depends upon the type, it depends upon the speed of the circuit breaker, that how much fast circuit breaker is able to clear the fault. So these points are improving the stability of the power system. And one more case we will consider is the use of auto reclosing circuit breakers. So there happens to be auto reclosing after the fault. There happens to be circuit breaker breaks the circuit, and after few cycles it again closes, because there are certain faults which are of very small duration, which have been cleared exactly after some cycles. That's why auto reclosing circuit breakers are increasing the stability of the power system. Now this is during fault, and now we are having post fault. So post fault is naturally more than the during fault, but less than the pre fault. Now let's say we are having this value of PM, mechanical power, and here we are having at the pre fault point, we will shift to the, this is delta naught, and where we will shift to the during fault, this B point. So at B point, start increasing, start moving along the power angle curve. Then happens to be the delta 1, where the fault has been cleared. So this is delta 1, where the fault has been cleared. So when fault has been cleared at the C point, we move to the D point on the which curve? Post fault curve. Now on the D point, we can move up to the maximum this value, because after that the system, after that if the delta increases, then the system is surely unstable. Up to E point, we can move up to E point. So here is delta 2. So delta naught is delta naught, delta 1 is delta critical, and delta 2 is delta 2 max. So now we plot the two areas. Let me see if I can take the new stylus. Yes. Let's say this is the accelerating area between the PM and during fault, and decelerating area is between the post fault and PM. So this one is the decelerating area. Now for this equal area criteria case, we are going to develop the integrations which will ultimately lead to the determination of delta critical. So applying the equal area criteria, we can equate the two areas, accelerating area and the decelerating area. Okay, the accelerating area is from delta naught to delta critical. PM minus PE. So P max 2, which is during fault. P max 2 is during fault, sine delta, D delta. And now from delta critical to delta 2 max, or delta max simply. This is between post fault P max 3. Post fault is P max 3 minus PM, D delta. So these two integrations give me the values of accelerating and decelerating areas. Delta 2 max can be easily written as pi minus sine inverse PM over P max 3. Now I solve this integrations. Okay, so I can solve this integrations. So it becomes PM into delta plus P max 2 cos delta within the integration signs delta naught to delta critical, plus I have taken this right hand term to the left hand, and it becomes P max 3 cos delta, P max 3 cos delta plus Pm into delta. And the limits of integration are from delta critical to delta 2 max equal to 0. Now I will solve this equation for delta critical, and it gives me this formula of the delta critical as follows. So from this formula I can directly determine the value of critical clearing angle. So cos delta critical is given by Pm delta 2 max minus delta naught minus P max 2 cos delta naught P max 2 cos delta naught plus P max 3 cos delta max divided by P max 3 minus P max 2. P max 3 minus P max 2. Right? So this is the value of delta critical formula, and here one point which is required to be considered, which is required to be taken care, is that all the values of deltas are required to be taken in terms of radians, not in degrees, right? So we have to consider the values of angles in terms of radians here. If you need to consider it in terms of degrees, then these values of deltas are required to be multiplied by pi by 180. In that case, sorry, 180 by pi. So that's why you can able to convert it into the degrees. But if you take it in radians, then there's no other pi by 180 or 180 by pi terms required. Here in this case, you can also solve the previous case. In the previous case, we have P max 2 is 0. So there is no during fault. So during fault value 0, you can also apply this for solving the previous case when there is sudden short circuit of the transmission line happens to be at the one end of the line. So there is one more case when we have to consider the case of auto reclosing circuit breaker. So let's say what happens when we have to consider the case of auto reclosing circuit breaker. What the auto reclosing circuit breaker is going to do, it will shift the point from post fault to the pre fault. So what will happen? It will shift the point from, for example, this is the value of, this is the value of delta where the reclosing happens. So this is the value of delta where reclosing happens. Let me again try to draw this. Say this is the point where happens to be the delta reclosing. So the delta reclosing is given by this small strip. Okay. In this case, this area is required to be added up with the decelerating area. So the net decelerating area in this case will be, so considering the reclosing, considering auto reclosing circuit breaker. We have the accelerating area is from delta node to delta critical. We have PM minus P max 2 sine delta d delta. And decelerating area is from delta critical to delta reclosing. Delta critical to delta reclosing. So for this delta critical to delta reclosing, the values in the integration are P max 3 sine delta minus PM d delta and plus from delta reclosing to delta 2 max. Delta reclosing to some value delta 2, not delta 2 max, some value delta 2. So this some value delta 2. Say it's the maximum value is delta 2 max. Delta 2 max. So we consider that it happens to be at delta 2 max, then P max 1 sine delta minus PM. So P max 1 sine delta minus PM d delta. So this is a case of, so in case we consider the reclosing circuit breakers, then we have to use this integration limits for equating the two areas.
सर स्क्रीन शो नहीं हो रही.
हाँ जी, कोई यानी you want to discuss anything?
सर स्क्रीन शो नहीं हो रही है.
स्क्रीन शो नहीं हो रही है.
हाँ जी.
एक मिनट. हाँ जी, अब शो हो रही है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So all these cases I have taken from the book of Modern Power System Analysis by Nagaraj Kothari. Now I come to the this case for which I want to give you the assignment. So I will write that assignment on the Guru portal as well. But I think I want to discuss briefly. Briefly, I want to discuss here in this class. So there is a system. The system is like this. We are having E dash equal to 1.2 per unit. Then we have XD dash and X of the transformer 0.3 and 0.2. Then we have a double circuit transmission line. The two circuits are having 0.4 each. And then we have infinite bus. Infinite bus voltage is 1 angle 0 degree. 1 angle 0 degree. Right? So during the pre-fault conditions, this is the case. The whole circuit is under normal operating conditions. So you need to determine the P max 1. So you can easily find out P max 1 as E dash V over total value of the x. So total value of the x here is 0.3 plus 0.2 plus 0.4 by 2. So total value of x is 0.7, and from here you can easily find out p max 1. In the second case, when the fault happens at the middle of the transmission line, you have to consider 0.2 on the left hand side, 0.2 on the right hand side, and then you have to apply the star delta transformation to determine the p max, P max 2. In the third case, this second line has been out, and simply you are left with 0.3, 0.2 and 0.4. So from there you can determine the p max 3. Okay, so p max 1, p max 2, p max 3 you have determined, and now you can find out the value of delta naught. So delta naught, how delta naught is determined? Delta naught is determined from the fact that the power which is being transferred during normal operating condition is 0.8, which is given to you. So 0.8 is equal to p max 1 sine delta naught. This is the expression for the value of electrical power which is being transferred under normal operating conditions. So from here p max 1 you can determine here. So delta naught is determined. So you can find out delta naught. Then you have to draw the two areas. And the two areas means accelerating area and the decelerating areas. From the graphical representation, you have to write down the expressions of integrations. Okay, so whatever we have written here, you have to write down the expressions of integration. This one, and this one, and then you have to apply this formula to find out the value of delta critical. Okay, so this is the brief explanation of the assignment question. So that assignment question I will give you on the group portal, and I will give you a time of 1 week. So that will be your assignment number 3. I have also given you assignment number 2, so you need to submit it by 26. And I have also checked your this sessional test. I think you are able to see your marks, so you can see the marks on the group portal. If someone is facing some problem, some marks are not showing to the students, then you can contact me. Right, so this is about this class, and now we have left with the some topics in the stability. These topics are numerical solution of the swing equation. So up to now we have discussed that instead of solving the swing equation, we can find out the stability of the power system by applying the graphical method, equilibrium criteria. But this is having the limitation. The limitation of equilibrium criteria is that we can apply it in the single machine infinite bus system. But in case of multi-machine stability analysis, when we are having multi-machines, there are number of machines, number of synchronous generators are there in the system, then equal area criteria is not applicable. Equal area criteria is applicable to single machine system only, single machine infinite bus system only. So in case of multi-machine system, we are having no other option but to solve the swing equation. Now, how to solve the swing equation? Because swing equation is a derivative equation, is involving the derivative. Swing equation is m d square delta by dt square is equal to pm minus pe. So we have to apply some numerical method for the solution of same equation. So three numerical methods we will apply one by one. The first method which we will apply is the first method which we will apply is point by point method. Okay, and the second which we'll apply is Euler